Welcome back to The Film Doesn't Lie. My name is Trey Wicks. Again, always with me, I got my boy Marcus Bryan. What's up, Mark?
What it do? What it do?
Today we got a special episode for y'all. You know what we do here. We go over the best film from the best players. But this time we're going to be giving our own experience over the years and talk about who the best players we've seen in person are.
Yes.
Not just on the film.
Yes.
So, let's go ahead and start. So, we both been in Florida for around the same amount of time. Mm-hmm. Probably, 13, 14 years now?
Yeah.
And we got to see a lot of great football. Got to experience a lot of great football. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, so for me, I've been blessed to see teams like Northwestern. I've got to see Trinity Catholics. I've got to see all the powerhouses, Mainland, all of them. So it's been a blessing to be from Florida and watching football.
Yeah, I mean, for people who, obviously people from Florida understand how big Florida sports is when it comes to football. It starts at Pop Warner level. It doesn't matter. The city comes out for football here in Florida. So here,
I've been seeing some fights over Pop Warner.
Yeah, and bro, they bet. I've seen people live bet on the little kid games, man. Like it's a real deal here in Florida. So for people who aren't from here, it's serious. So, and what I will say is, me and Trey here, we're both from Brevard County, so we're smack dead in the middle of the state. So we were able to travel north, we were able to travel south. We're able to see a lot of different players play throughout our time here in Florida. And, I mean, we've seen guys such as Chauncey Gardner, Marcus.
Local products.
Yeah, Marcus May. I mean, these are guys that are right here in front of our faces almost every day. They grew up here, and now they're in the league. We're talking about starting safeties in the league. So we've seen some people. We've seen some people play.
All right, so for me, I've been blessed to see guys like one of the baddest cats I've seen is DJ Matthews. He's currently at Indiana. He was highly recruited coming out, signed with Florida State. Had a little trouble with injuries here and there right now. But I got to see one of the best games I've ever seen in my life. NFL, college, high school, Pee Wee League, all that. When he was at First Coast, they were in state playoffs 2017. Mm-hmm. And they were playing a team called Apopka. For those that don't know, the Apopka Blue Book Darters are a powerhouse in the Orlando area. Mm-hmm. And I watched this little 5'2" cat take down a team of 4 and 5 stars, which, again, height and size doesn't matter. It's all about how you play the game.
It's so funny that you brought up DJ because, I mean, even when you watch him, he was so smooth on the field, and he was always making big plays. I mean, everywhere. Special teams, wide receiver, he was always making big plays. And I thought it was going to travel over, and he was just going to be a dog. And it just didn't seem like he would move fast. But for some reason, people were chasing him all the time.
So we call that grown men playing against little boys. He was a grown man on the field. The game I'm talking about, he was a sophomore, going against one of the top programs in the state of Florida that have like 3-4 state championships in the last 5-10 years. And he's scoring, just him and a little dude are going back and forth. I don't even know little dude's name. But little dude, he would go behind that line of scrimmage and pop out, and you never see him until he's about 20 yards down the field. And he scored, then DJ would go do something crazy and score. And we're sitting there in amazement because we just came out just to watch a game.
Right.
And I know who DJ Matthews was that night, but he let me know who he was.
Yeah. And you said that was his sophomore year, so that was before he transferred over.
Exactly. So, I think his junior year, he transferred over. He played with other top towns like Trinity Christian always has. Mm-hmm. But that team, that First Coast team may be one of the best teams to not win a state title that you probably will never hear about.
Right.
Because they had dudes like DeAndre Johnson at quarterback, who signed with Florida State. Yep. William Sweet at tackle, signed with North Carolina. And they fought as much as they could. But that little cat, I'm trying to tell you, bro. If you can find highlights to that game, you want to go check that out.
I'll have to look that up.
A 5'2" cat took down a team full of college players.
I would have to look that up, man. That's crazy. But and again, man, see, film don't lie. It just goes. It always reverts back to our show. Film doesn't lie. It goes back to that every single time. Because if you don't know his name, I'm sure that means he wasn't highly recruited. And look at him. He was able to basically bring them a big game. Did that team win state championship? A popular one?
That team won state championship. They were 9-4 or 9 and something like that after the playoffs, but they won the state championship.
Come on, man. See, that's the kind of play. Like, film doesn't lie. You have dogs out there that is not going to be highly touted, but they know how to play some ball, and that's one of those guys, man. That's one of those guys.
You got anyone you want to bring up so far?
Okay, so I have one guy in mind. He's definitely a Brevard County native. He played for Satellite High School. One dude, that boy JT Washington, man.
Oh,
bro, I remember I was at the game that you guys were playing. It was you were there. I was in there, watching in the rain, bro. And I'm like, man, we got to beat these cats. Like, Satellite, they ain't that good, man. We going to come out here.
Shout out to Kyle Smith.
Shout out Kyle Smith on the game winner. That game was crazy. This is a good game. But, yeah, man, JT, he was one of those players that he was just explosive on all levels of the field. He would play special teams. He was playing running back. He was playing anything they needed him to play, obviously other than quarterback. And it seemed like every time he touched the ball, he was a threat to score. I mean, y'all's game was actually like high-scoring game. Like, I think he ended up with like 4 or 5 touchdowns that night.
But the thing is, we were up by like 14 or 20 or something. We thought the game was over. We started to chill. And then this cat just, all of a sudden, it was at least like end of the third, beginning of the fourth. And he just made some incredible plays, brought them back in the game. We're about to lose. Thank God for Kyle Smith, because he made an incredible play. We walked out the field with the dub. Yeah, man,
that game was crazy, and I wish it was a home game because I knew it would have been even more crazy. Obviously, since we were on the road, the only people jumping up and down was probably me in the stands. But I was like, oh snap! Like, that game was, bro. That was probably a top 10 game I've ever witnessed in my life, man. That was a good one.
Honestly, I was in the game and I didn't remember that.
I was like, who is this dude? I'm like, bro got like 4 or 5 touchdowns this game. Like, he was killing us.
Yes, oh man, JT. And for those that don't know, JT did sign with Arizona, so he was a top player. Mm-hmm. And like Marcus said, that night, he gave it to us. But we walked off with the dub.
Yeah, he definitely showed. I think he ended up finalizing at a 3-star, right?
I think either 3 or low 4.
Or low 4, yeah.
But he was a D1 player, so
yeah,
it doesn't matter.
It don't matter. Film don't lie. Throw the tape on.
And he had a whole highlight against us. So. All right, so another dude for me. He's currently in college, also at Indiana with JT, or with
DJ.
Yeah, DJ Matthews. His name is Sean Shivers.
Yes.
He was part of Shama and he personally broke my heart because he ended one of the most magical seasons I've seen for my little brother's high school MCC when they were undefeated after they played 11 overtime game against Clearwater Central Catholic. Mm-hmm. And he rolled up in there and gave him that work. At 5'8", 180, he gave him that work. Every single time, I swear to God, just simple dive play up the middle, 80 yards. Mind you, MCC was one of the highest scoring teams, not just like in the county, but in the state. Mm-hmm. And that cat, it was just, if you didn't score every time, you were going to pay because he was going to score every time.
Now, where did Sean end up? He originally went to Auburn?
Yep, 4-star went to Auburn. He grad transferred to Indiana after the coaching change. But he stuck around this year for Auburn, and then now he's in Indiana after grad transfer. But That's a bad boy. Watch this year. I've already seen some stuff come out of spring where him doing what he does. That's a bad boy. Thick thighs. One of the top track runners in the country out of high school. And that dude, man. That's a scary dude.
That sounds like we might need to pay a little bit of just tune in to Indiana games this year just to see what's going on. That's two players that you've personally seen with your own two eyes, that are not playing over there in Indiana. So
exactly.
That's
Big Ten football.
Right. That's something
Big
we
Ten
have to
football
look.
ain't used to that speed. You
You
saw what happened when you put Rondell Moore out there.
He did whatever he wanted to everybody.
Exactly.
To everybody. All right, another guy for me. Now, a lot of people gonna give my man some hate. They say he was a one-trick pony, but my man Trey Nixon was a bad boy too. Come on, man.
Shout out to the Hawks, bro.
Come on, man.
Hawk alums.
Come on, shout out to the VA High alums. Hey, for real, man. He totaled out to be a 4-star, and he played like it, and he played like it in the biggest games. And you can kind of say that could be due to him being obviously the by far and best player we had on that team. So he didn't really have a choice. But it's two games. Well, it's one game that really sticks out for me, and that's against all pro slot corner now. C.J. Gardner back in high school when they played Coco. Trey was killing him. Trey was killing him. He had two 40, 50-yard bombs by the second quarter. They had to take Chauncey off of him.
But some will argue that Chauncey did have to play both ways.
Yes, he did.
Not taking nothing away from Trey.
Yeah, he did.
But
now that you say something, Chauncey never left the field because he also was the punt returner. He was the punt returner.
Chauncey's that dude. That's why he's that dude now. He's been the same way since he was Little League. So
yeah.
Chauncey's just been that dude.
And he knows it. He knows it. And the crazy thing about him, he is such an athlete. I've played basketball with him myself, and he's such an athlete. Like, he still stands out an athlete on the basketball court. He may not be the best skill-wise, but he's such an athlete that he was still like, damn, who is this kid,
But back to Trey. Like you said, Trey was a special player.
Yeah.
He brought Vieira to new heights.
Mm-hmm.
I played for Vieira. I love the high school with all my heart. I never thought Vieira was going to get to where he took them to.
Yeah.
And they haven't been back since.
Yeah, it was like...
So that tells you what kind of player he was.
He was taking the doors off of defense. Like, you can tell like, when you watch the games, you can see teams were clearly like, okay, we got to watch... What was he, number one? We got to watch one. I think Trey was one at the time. We got to watch one.
He was one because they tried starting a tradition after, but
right.
I don't think it really panned out.
Yeah, it's we got to watch one. We got to watch one. They have the safety, even slide over to that side, but he was so fast that if the safety slid over to that side, he'd just run that skinny post, and now put the safety just too far out, and boom, 60 yards later. What did they clock him at? Like 4.3 something? This is in high school.
Yeah.
That was high school.
He was blazing. When they had him and his brother, it was crazy.
Yeah, that was definitely... I enjoyed watching the year or two that he really shined at Vieira.
So before we reveal our top players, I got to shout out my boy. I've known him since he was 5. Jayshawn Corbin. Yeah, good luck to him in the NFL draft.
Good luck, Jay.
Dude has been the top player since he was about 7 because he played offensive line for a little bit because he was a big kid. He's always played up.
Mm-hmm.
He's even graduating early. So you're thinking about this kid, he could be another year more mature, and he's always been the top dude. Since Little League, he's been winning championships.
Mm-hmm.
He's a winner.
Yeah, I never forget. I used to go to the practices, with you and your family, watching our little brother Cam, and Jayshawn play on the same team, and I never forget. I think y'all had the boys running Oklahoma's. And actually, Jayshawn wasn't even the ball carrier, man. Jayshawn was the one who actually had to make the hit. And when I tell you, man, the whole field heard the hit. And he was like 8, bro. He was a little guy. That's when I was like, okay, listen, you got one.
So, personally, I think Jayshawn could play almost any position on the field. He would wreck at safety.
Yeah.
People don't even realize that. He plays running back, but he would be a dominant safety.
Yeah,
He ain't scared to hit.
Bro, yeah. The people are never gonna know that side of Jayshawn now because now he's big time at running back, and obviously for the right reasons. But the boy talented everywhere. He can play everywhere.
So, like we said earlier, we've been blessed to watch him, especially locally in recent years. A lot of talent come through our county, and that's at Rockledge, even Melbourne, Bayside, Palm Bay. Palm Bay had Reggie Nelson, Xavier Carter, two of the best players in our county's history. You got Willie Halstead. People don't remember him. Even the great the NBC analyst. I forget his name now.
Which one?
What's the NBC analyst? The one who calls the games on Sunday Night Football.
He's from Brevard?
He's from Titusville. He went to Titusville.
Oh shoot! I don't know. Now that makes me interested. Cause I didn't know. I didn't know I didn't know Titusville had anyone else other than Willie Halstead, who was that caliber of a name. Because Willie ended up going to Florida State. For you guys who don't know, he went to Florida State as a wide receiver. So
he played for the Bengals. Collinsworth.
Chris Collinsworth? Chris Collinsworth? Yeah. He's from Titusville?
Chris Collinsworth. Yeah. He went to Titusville High.
I did not know that. I did not know that. Oh, and another local talent that people probably don't know. I mean, obviously some of our guys will know, but Doug Flutie is down here from Indiana Atlantic. I mean, he was, middle school over here.
He did live here for a little bit, but I don't think he ever played ball here.
I don't think so.
But he did live here for a little bit.
Yeah, he lived here in his younger days.
But yeah, we've had talent. We've seen talent. But now we got to share a few of them. Now we got to go over our favorites. So who you got as the best player you've ever seen come that you've ever got to lay your eyes on, Mark?
All right. This was tough because there's a lot of names. There's a lot of people we've seen. But I think my overall number one player, and I'm saying I'm going to have to go with Taurean Foster. Shout out Taurean, man. That's my guy. But, bro, oh my God. It seemed like, especially in high school, he was even at Vieira with us for a little bit. It seemed like every time he touched the ball, he could go for 6. I mean, look at this tape right here. This is obviously now he's over at Coco here, so this was at least his sophomore, junior, senior year. It's like, look at this, man.
He was a special athlete. I can tell you, he's the reason why I know the difference between a D1 athlete and a regular football player. The first time he came out to practice as a freshman, and he housed a 7-yarder, not once, not twice, but 3 times in a row, I was like, this cat's different. He's in the weight room working out with the weightlifters above me. I'm a junior going into my senior year. He's power clean 225. I'm like... As a freshman. Yeah. He's the type of player where you understand where the next level is, so you have to step it up.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I just couldn't believe it, man, when I seen him. And that's another guy, I've seen him play basketball as well, and it's just there's just natural athleticism just sticks out.
Absolutely. And shout out to Coach Folston, his dad. He's been real good to my family. He pushed his kids. I don't think he even has a kid that didn't go D1.
Which is big.
That tells you what kind of family they had. They worked so hard. They wake up in the morning, work out, go to school, do their homework, work out again, and then do it all over again. Yep. And guess what? It paid off.
And you got the craziest thing is, believe it or not, a lot of people won't realize it, is that the girls in the family ran track. I mean, Taurean's little brother played linebacker for Pitt, and was
he's in USFL now.
Yeah, and the one thing I've always said about that family is they were all real respectful. They were all real rounded. They were very well respectful, bro. They were mild mannered. They didn't
absolutely
I never seen them get angry or upset, disrespectful. They were very.
The thing is, like you're saying, he even like Taurean himself. Even after he transferred, a lot of times when kid transfers, they'll like when they come back for sporting events and stuff, they act like they don't know you.
Right.
I can tell you personally, he transferred Coco. I went out to track meet. He was out there. We talked for a minute, dapped each other up and stuff. Like Mark said, these are good kids.
Yeah.
And Taurean, he was just like it.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, you guys are seeing the film here. You're seeing he's a problem. He actually, his end result was, he actually was got to become the starting running back at Notre Dame, big time.
Blue blood.
Big time. Blew out his knee, unfortunately. He still did get to see the NFL. He was still blessed enough to see the NFL, which is amazing. And now it seems like he's over there in the Canadian League, doing his thing out there. So, yeah, shout out Tifo, man. It's good. It's so good to see him. I see these highlights now. It just brings back so many memories, man.
Absolutely, shout out to Tifo. But for me, you don't have to go that far. Just rewind the clock a little bit, and I think this is the best player in Brevard history for me. And he had a little trouble going through before he got to college. Then when he got in college, still had a little trouble, but he literally put Brevard on the map.
Yep.
To me.
Yep. I agree.
More than Reggie Nelson did, more than Xavier Carter did. He went to the number one team in the country's house and took them down on national television.
Yep.
For me, I don't remember him ever losing a game. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, it's Chevelle Bowie. That dude is Brevard royalty.
Yeah.
That dude is the baddest back I've ever seen in my life at high school level. He was everything for a Coco team that won 3 back-to-back-to-back state titles. And you see right there, 4,000 yards, 37 touchdowns. So, what does that tell you?
And that's crazy because, I mean, they had these boys back-to-back. Coco had these boys back-to-back.
They had a year where it overlapped.
Yep.
They had a year where it overlapped.
Yep.
With him, Rabbit, and Chevelle.
Yeah.
And that team, that was a nasty team.
When Chevelle was here, this was probably the first time I seen true breakaway speed. Like, this dude touched the ball and he was clearly the fastest player on the field. And it wasn't like I tell people all the time, it wasn't track speed. Like, this is football speed.
Mm-hmm.
This is like you were never gonna catch him.
Listen, I never forget. We had a bye week one year. So I went to the Merritt Island Coco game. Merritt Island was giving them everything they got. It was a 13-6 game, and Coco was kind of teetering on. They were up 13-6, but Coco was teetering on if they were going to be able to get out of it. And they ran a play, basically a flare route to Chevelle. He dropped the ball. They bring it back. Run the same play. Do the same play. He catches his time house. You know what's coming. They didn't change anything. They didn't make any new calls or anything. You know what's coming, and he still did it to you.
Yeah, Chevelle was a bad boy, and you know what's funny is he was the only other person I had that I was like, man, he was the only other one I was like, it was either gonna be him or Tifo, but I had to give it to Tifo just because, like you said, when he was in Vieira, like, you saw the difference.
Listen, we only had to play Coco once when I was at Vieira, and that was my freshman year. And I just remember we scored the first touchdown. Kevin Cole took it back for a kick return for a touchdown. And then from there was the Chevelle show. Score ended up being 70-7.
That's crazy. I remember that.
So we were up on Coco for 3 seconds.
And then he just took over.
That's what happened. They had some special players back then, but he was the alpha dog around special players. He had everyone coming to see him.
Yep.
Urban Meyer. Even at that moment in time, Urban Meyer was Nick Saban.
Yep, top of the food chain at Florida.
He had just came off that that national championship. the second one with Team Tebow, and it was a special time because really Brevard wasn't getting as many looks as it gets now.
No,
it was so hard to get coaches down there because we didn't have huddle, and Brevard teams weren't making it to states every year.
Nope.
Until Cocoa did.
Cocoa did,
there
and
was
then
a
they
gap
stopped.
between Rockledge and Palm Bay winning.
Yeah. Yep.
And he's special, bro.
And it's just like you said. If you if anybody's been paying attention to this highlight tape as we've been speaking, he's run the same 4 plays.
That's literally what they had. That's literally what they had.
It's like 4 or 5 plays. He's doing the same thing, and he's outrunning everyone every time.
But to understand who he's playing against, right now, this highlights Olive Branch from Mississippi. They were a top team in Mississippi at the time. They went to Texas. They beat the number 1 team in Texas. And the number 1 team in Texas at the time was the number 1 team in the country.
Yep.
He brought Cocoa to the national stage. He brought Brevard to the national stage.
Yep.
Because back then, like I said, Rockledge and Palm Bay were winning for a while, but then it kind of dissipated for a little bit after the Reggie Nelsons and the Xavier Carters got out. But when he brought back life to Brevard football.
Hey, look at this man.
And the thing is, he was so football smart. If he could just play football all the time, he would be in the NFL right now. No one can tell me different.
I agree. Hey, look at this man. True breakaway speed, man. That was the very first time I seen true breakaway speed, and I was like, "Holy cow!" One man should not be that fast.
Again, it's
the same plays.
Those type of players usually come around once or twice. Especially for a high school. Cocoa has been blessed.
Mm-hmm.
They've had these type of players now. They've had about 5 to 6 of them.
That's crazy for them because, I mean, anybody. Obviously, I know a lot of Brevard County guys are going to know, but anybody outside that's not really paying attention, Cocoa themselves, I mean, since Chevelle has put out constant 4 stars at this position. I mean, it was literally like, what, 4 or 5 years in a row we've had Chevelle.
You got one at Penn State.
We've had Chevelle,
who just signed at Tennessee Tech. You got one.
Don't forget Jayhawk at
Chauncey
Louisville.
was running back, but he played to safety, so he went to Florida.
Don't forget Jayhawk, who, I mean, a lot of
Louisville. Of course, Jayhawk. Oh, my goodness.
And to this day, I said Jayhawk is, oh, my God. He was a monster.
Jayhawk is a man, too. We didn't get to talk about Javion Hawkins, but that's a man.
Jayhawk is a dog. He is a dog.
Like Mark said, Coco's been blessed. They have NFL players now.
Mm-hmm.
They have Canadian football players. They have USFL players. They have college football players.
Mm-hmm.
But this man laid it all out for them. He was the foundation that they built that on.
Yep.
What he is at Cocoa, number 4 is royalty. Mm-hmm. When you get to wear that number, that means that you are that dude.
Yep.
Bruce Judson, Willie Gaines.
Mm-hmm.
You are that dude when you wear number 4. And that's because of this man right here.
Yeah, that 4 jersey and white, black, and orange, man, it means something. It means something here. And that's like you said, we're definitely blessed to see guys like that. Man, we're definitely blessed.
Because the nation's not going to be able to ever see him. Because stuff happens.
I imagine Chevelle in today's day, with all these 707 camps. Bro.
Just remember, Florida had trouble at running back for the longest when they had Tim Tebow. They could never find a solid running back. They were running back by committee.
Yep.
Chris Rainey, Jeff Demps.
Yep.
But none of them were real running backs. This dude was a real running back.
Yep. He was going to look at this, man. That's him lined up at wide receiver.
Man,
I love it, man.
He was a football player. If you didn't know, now you know, because Chevelle Bowie, to me, was that dude. A couple years later, Coco, Taurean Foster, to Mark, was that dude.
Yep.
To me, he's still that dude too, but Chevelle is a different level for me.
Yeah.
But Bernard, we've been blessed. We've seen some great football players. We've got some great ones coming up. Don't forget to check out guys like Rocket Sanders at Arkansas.
Who's been
real nice at Louisville.
Yeah. We still got guys out there. And they're producing.
Absolutely. And you love to see it. Because you
do.
You get to see these kids go from little league to college and then aspire to their dreams to the pros. It's something special.
Yes, it is. And before I let you wrap it up, I can't let you end the show without shout out the hard work that you and your family did, because your little brother is a little monster too. Cam is a nice piece too. So shout out to you guys, and for anybody who wants to go look him up, Cameron Wicks. He just went viral on Destroying's video. What was that, a couple months ago? He's the brother with his shirt off and negative weather. That's how he is.
He's never found a shirt that he likes.
Shout out little bro Cam.
Listen, Brad. In my family, we're late bloomers. Thankfully, he works hard. He does everything right. He'll get to where he needs to be.
That's right.
All right.
God will handle the rest.
So again, I thank all y'all for listening to this chop up. Usually we do things a little bit different, but now you get a little bit of our palette, what we're used to seeing, why we judge things certain ways, and why film doesn't lie to us. We don't care what the rankings are. We don't care what 24/7 says. We don't care what ESPN says. What's that film say?
That's right. Hey, we from, like he said, we from a county where we didn't get a lot of recognition for a while, so we don't care about stars. I mean, we don't care about stars. Show me the tape. Show me a football player. I'll show you who I want on my team.
Exactly. All right, y'all. So y'all know what it is. The film doesn't lie. I want to thank my boy Mark for always showing love, coming in.
Always.
Go follow him. NBA Cast. You know where. YouTube, Anchor, Twitter, Instagram. Anything you type, search your username on, look it up.
I'm there.
So go ahead, follow, like, subscribe. And you know what it is. Thanks for taking the time to listen to us. All love.
Yes.
Deuces.
Peace.